Mhuri yeZimbabwe tauya nemashoko ainge akanyararwa but achishungurudza ruzhinji rwenyika yeZimbabwe since from 2017 up to 2025. Zvaishamisa vanhu kuti sei vanhu vasiri kufa Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Police, vanhu vaingofa kuarmy, maarmy general wachifa newane zvedanho vaifa since from 2017 up to 2025. Aya mashoko azotanga kutaurwa mushure mekunge vanhu vari kuziva kuti zvigananda kusanganisira nava president Emerson Mnangagwa sezvo vari kuronga one party state, vari kuziva kuti vanhu vanondivhiringidza ndinhingi nanhingi kusanganisira maleaders acho vakatotargetwa pari zvino vari kudiwa misoro dzavo VP Chiwenga ndiwe kutanga, Sanyatwe Valerius Banda ndo vanhu vari kudiwa. Muri kunyatsa kuziva kuti Valerius Banda akapotswa nezuro muaccident. Driver wake vanofamba naye anodriver Valerius Banda ndiye akafira pasport muna Bulawayo Oil Road. Kuti mitactic yacho yakatadza kurongwa ere kana kuti chii chakaitika hapana anoziva mhuri yeZimbabwe. Sezvo tiri kuziva kuti mitactic vanga vakatageta Valerius Banda because zvemunoziva kuti zvigananda ZANU-PF kana ichinge yatageta vanhu hainene kuti iwe hauna mhosva uri mukati memotikari iyoyo munotoparara mese as long ungori mukati. Pamweni itoriwo transport kana kuti ihama yako yangu kukwidzawo kuenda kuHarare but zuva racho iro rakatotagetwa munhu kana richinge ratosvika inorohwa mota zvekutoti hausari wakaremara kana kuita sei, unotoparara ipapo uchitofira pasport. Ndofunga muri kuona maaccident akawanza kuitika muZANU-PF pakaitwa dhere mono mutapa papa. Kana makamboona accident iya ya mota mupararire yanga ita pari kungobudikira kaskava chete keZANU-PF zvekutoti nyange munhu achitongosvika pasina kunzwa information yacho anotoziva kuti vanhu vese vakaparara. Ndo muparadziwe unoitwa zvinhu neZANU-PF. Sezvo tiri kuziva kuti vanhu ivavo vari targeted napresident Emerson Mnangagwa kusanganisira nezvegananda because ndo vanhu vanovhiringidza kingdom iri kurongwa napresident Emerson Mnangagwa ende vagara vasi kutoida. Ndosaka muri kuona naSanyatwe payapa ndosaka muri kuona naSanyatwe payapa vakaramba kusimudza maoko muparliament. Vakazviramba izvozvo vakapa chinzi 2030 vachingoramba yavadini vakanyarara. Ndo pakazonzi tiri kutageta vanhu vese vasiri kusimbisa 2030 agenda kusanganisira maminista. Tiri kumirira vachabangu vauye vazokwanise kubvisa vanhu vese vasiri kusimbisa 2030 agenda mhuri yeZimbabwe. So chinova chiri cho chiratidzo chisina kumira zvakanaka muno munyika yeZimbabwe, uye tira kuti munzwe nyaya hurusa, nyaya hombesa yaJob Scaler. Information yacho yese kubva kuANC kusvika payakaperera haisati yapera zvayo because akazonzi azoemeswa 26 February kucourt but akapiwa bail nezuro re10,000. Munhu wakabatwa naye bail re10,000 because mafootage because chisuruziya zvigananda ndechekutoti ana South Africa vari develop mhuri yeZimbabwe vari develop yekudevelopa kwaika kwekutoti mafootage ese kubva kuma guest house kwainge vari wakarara vachiwati chikushamisawo ndechekutoti sei asina kubatwa muBotswana because ari kunzwa kwachanisa way yekuBotswana uko. Sei asina kubatwa muBotswana akazobatwa muSouth Africa because tiri kuona kuti kunana Pretoria nekunana Joburg uko mhuri yeZimbabwe munyika yeSouth Africa kune vanhu vari kunzi ZANU-PF muzanzi vane zvimakadhi zvakanyonzi ZANU-PF muzanzi kuratidza kuti wakatosima vanhu wavo iko kuSouth Africa because zvinogona kuitika zvakatoitika because takatomboona kadhi rakalika wakabatwa muchinde hameno zvanga ari kuita akabatwa akazobuditsa kadhi ainzi aibva kwaChiwi kuna vanhu aitoziva nemasinema acho chichi chimwe takatomboisa kadhi racho pano paZim News Update achidzika mundege zvese nemakadhi nemapictures chichi chimwe yakanyonzi muzanzi ZANU-PF wati zvese zvakanyorwa ipapo mhuri yeZimbabwe chireva kuti ZANU-PF yakatosima futi vanhu munyika yeSouth Africa. So tonawadza taya takakubatirai pano paZim News Update pano petinoda kupa manews update anonga ari kuitika muno munyika yeZimbabwe. Kana uri musasa panosina kusubscribe kulike nekushare tira kuti musare muchinzwa full information nyaya yaJob Scaler kuti iri kufamba sei.
Looking at what is happening in SADC instead of just jumping into the bandwagon and think that Zimbabwe is free and is free for business and open for all. No, it's not like that. This is one thing that they must actually understand. We have to find ourselves and we have to map our own future, not to be mapped a future that is actually imposed, that never goes to parliament and nobody knows whatever type of deals and bills are signed. By the end of the day, some people are happy Dangote is there. Happy for what? Because I mean, infrastructure is just normal things which are supposed to be built, and these are normal things which are just supposed to create employment. And by the end of the day, we question this thing of saying, why a Nigerian, why a Chinese? These are some of the questions that we actually question. Say, why a Nigerian, why a Chinese? Probably, maybe we could have said, maybe South African, I would understand, or a Mozambican or somebody. I'll say, okay, these are neighbors, we have been running around here. But to go and take somebody who is there, yet we have got plenty of people in Zimbabwe who have got the money and whom we can create and empower to be the same as the Dangotes. That one is a story for another day, but let's go back to Job. Now, this ANC is losing and is bleeding, and its relationships, even Ofikile Mbalula, they know it. And probably this is one of the reasons why Job had to get fast bail. Because remember, we discussed this at Hulu Space, with all those ZANU-PF team tweets, I mean, saying, hey, you'll be what, you'll be what. But I mean, being a democratic space, South Africa, I mean, we know that, I mean, we knew that he was going to get it because, look here, I mean, how many times has Job been arrested and what has happened to him? And the potential of Job actually skipping bail is only going to Zimbabwe. And what I know from my friends who are investigating officers, many people have skipped bail in South Africa and they've been followed to Zimbabwe. They do that. It's there. So whether the conditions are this or that, the thing is, can Job see this case through without actually, I would pray without actually him actually maybe either going back to Zimbabwe, of which I mean his bail, he can go and come back if there's time. But at the same time now, you look at the political climate to say your enemy is trying to take you out with other means. And during such desperation times, and then you require, they end up doing desperate measures, abducting you or killing you or doing something. So the best thing is either you recuperate and refocus and actually regather your energy and then know which direction you're traveling. We are here, we can talk, we can do whatever, because there are so many things to be done, because this is one of the things which was supposed to be done. What was done to Job today is what is supposed to be done to many Zimbabweans who are around. So we have to put this to test, whether you like it or not. Selenkos, tell your boss. Muruti Mzawani in DWG. There is still a war to be fought within this space. So there are some other things that I need to talk to Job about. I personally, I've got his number. I haven't actually called him. I've got his number. I haven't actually called him. But there are things that we need to talk about, and there are things that we need to
can you hear me?
Do.
Fabish.
Not as NDWG, but as Zimbabweans, as a united front. Because putting that and then want to talk to Zimbabweans, sometimes people will say, no, you're actually categorizing yourselves. That is why we came, all of us, to you and said, no, listen, we need to help. And an injury to one is an injury to all. Even if you're a ZANU-PF person, we were trying to help Nyoka Imabunet at one particular point in time. But we ended up withdrawing because you know how ZANU-PF do things, unlike the way that you've actually conducted yourselves here. You've actually conducted yourself with uttermost respect, and you actually showed that you are people. But when we were trying to help Nyoka Mabunu, it ended up becoming toxic and this, and then we ended up saying, you know what, irrespective of the fact that he was ZANU-PF, but he's a Zimbabwean and he doesn't actually deserve to go in jail because he's running away from repression and oppression. I'd rather win him and probably go and put a vote maybe on the opposition than actually to celebrate his incarceration in jail and stuff like that. So as we go forward, what we said is that, he is a high-profile case, but if he's got the empathy and emotional intelligence that, the people showed here, then we need to talk. We need to sit down. Because this struggle is going to be 40 years. It's not going to be 40 anyway. Whether ZANU-PF knows it or doesn't know it, doesn't matter. The struggle, the battleground is going to be South Africa. And that we have to do. And that we have to strategize. Because so far, so good as we try to talk to our brothers within the spaces and say, listen, guys, this is what we need to do. Well, there's lethargy amongst the people actually to commit themselves to a struggle, which probably I don't know what are their reasons, but some of us are already geared for this struggle, and this struggle has got to go on. We're not going to be apologetic in the way going forward. Everything has been exposed, and we know we are in danger. within South Africa. And we know we've got so many people that we know, and by the end of the day, when such things start coming up, I mean, tracing and doing whatever is going to be there. Now we need now to be ready now. For whatever is 2030 or for whatever, we have to be ready. And Angujeza, let's stop actually bringing these ZANU-PF people, you know, who try and dent out situations. Because too much propaganda is killing us, believe you me. Too much propaganda is killing us. Because I remember when Silongos was actually, presenting at Hulu's place there, and Rutendo was busy bashing and bashing. You know, some people end up thinking their line of logic, and you could feel, no, I mean, look here, it's taking its toll on her. So sometimes when you're having some of these discussions which are very sensitive, which involve a person's incarcerations, and then we ZANU-PF people come and actually debate on the opposition matters, I don't think we'll be doing justice to the guys in the opposition and even to high-profile people that we actually support. I don't think we actually will be doing justice. When such things happen, especially incarceration or death, we need to call our own experts and sit down. If they want to listen to ZANU-PF, oh, they can listen, fair and fine, but we are chanting a way forward, we're mapping a way forward. We can't be defeated by word of mouth, and actually we can't be defeated by conspiracy theories which people conspire and they know nothing, and then they just come here and tell you a vocabulary. We have got this sickness of loving vocabularies, and then we put people there, they start talking their own French shit and stuff like that, and then we say, hey, this one is educated. Communicating to people just is simple, effective, basic. That is it. Simple English, the same way I'm talking here. For Jaguar, when they come, they say, no, this one can speak. Let us have people who come to do things positive, because time is getting closer and closer. The more we procrastinate and shit and shit, we are also in shit. And we'll find the Mafiti dynasty and all these business people that we are not wishing to be there, because we are already working in these diasporas. We can't continue actually to be oppressed yet. Those are our riches. It's time for us to go and take back our riches. We can't have a Dangote coming to say, who has never sold anything here. Even if you look at the history of Dangote, whatever he did, it's entrepreneurship, but which you are denied. So we need to look at all these things, and we need now to start sitting down, and actually, it's a blessing, because this is how God sometimes does things. While the job might think that, I know this was bad, probably it was this thing of saying you need to go and actually liaise with the other people in the diaspora. And you guys go and make formations. And this is the reason why probably we are gathered here. There is a reason why we all empathized with this situation. We are trying to find people at home and people this side. And should we manage to have a bridge that can actually communicate both ways and both sides and relate to us, that is highly most welcome. As long as not an entity, as long as it's a united front, because we know there are some who have got their own personalities that they like. But I mean, to remove whatever, or to conquer whatever is in front of us, it's time for us to grow balls as men and help these ladies to go home and help the children to go home. Because it's not only job. Half of the prison population in South Africa, it's Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, Nigerians, other nationalities who never get the chance of actually being exposed like Job. They don't have that. 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, Zimbabweans, 3 months no eating, sleeping under a bridge, stinking, smelling. Do your parents know where you are? No, I just told them I'm going to South Africa. Then here in South Africa, where are you staying? Underneath a bridge. I've been staying underneath a bridge for the past 3 months. That's where I go and sleep. Then I go out. I go and pick. We have got too many prodigal children, our own children, here in South Africa, in jails, juvenile jails. Who is causing that? Those are the things that we want to know. Who is causing that? Is it because they're not high-profile people, they can't afford a passport, yet the situation is forcing them to leave home and come here, only to come here to be incarcerated again, and then be deported backwards again? We need to to do some things seriously. And if it means that we're going to work with the opposition parties and all those progressive parties, this is what we need. Zimbabwe can't keep on being locked by one party and one family. There are people in ZANU-PF, I mean, we know who have got heads, who have got reasoning capacities, and we can't wish them away. But these ones who are there, these ones who are trying to manipulate the constitution and do whatever they want, and trying actually to trying to chastise a man who is actually trying to stand up for the people. If Job falls, who is going to stand in that gap there? It's until you grow balls and then you say, Job is not the only man, we are only men, we have to stand in this gap. The jail in South Africa is not one painful jail. I think for Job, I think it was just like a holiday going to the jail. I think he laughed when he was inside there, to tell you the truth. He was laughing. Ha, this is the jail that I am. I've got a 2-in-1 in remand. I can take a bath. I can use lotion. I can brush my teeth. There's good time. I can go and sit there. I mean, this is South Africa. It's a democratic space. There's television there. I can watch news. It's a democratic space. This is what the Rutendos don't know. They will celebrate and jump and think that, I mean, this is the end of the world, and as if though, no, the darkest hour is when solutions come. And it's such an hour right now in Zimbabwe. It's this darkest hour that we've got, and plenty of solutions are there. And this evil, we are going to defeat it, whether we like it, whether it likes it or not. The more we keep on putting pressure, the more they'll keep on also making mistakes. The moment we release the pedal, they'll start now doing whatever they want. But now already now we've got a picture of how they look, and this picture probably needs now to be projected to the international community, not only on Job, but also on the other Zimbabweans who are actually suffering similar things of actually being incarcerated without papers, yet they are Zimbabweans. And these Zimbabweans are being passed between two liberation parties as a ball. Tanzania happened. Zimbabwe happened. Mozambique happened. We might be going back again to Zimbabwe. Zambia, we heard Hachilema there speaking. Madam Sidu was placed by God. So the people were actually choosing what was placed by God or by Satan. So what did Satan actually choose for Tanzania? The people to die? So if you hear a leader who wants a third term actually speaking like that, you know that something is bound to happen in Tanzania, and the optics are already there. And there's this thing that you mustn't forget, guys, from NWG. The liberation parties, this is what I'm saying, we need to start working with opposition parties. The liberation parties are already joined to their hips and they are moving in tandem. That's why you find some can't condemn what is happening in Tanzania. Some can't call up their leaders. This thing of saying SADC or the OAU is going to come in. Look here, Christians are being cut off their heads in Nigeria. If you see some of the videos that are coming from Nigeria on Christians, you'll be shocked. And the man there sitting in the OAU is actually a Muslim. Then the Muslims are the ones who are cutting those heads, but he can't condemn that. And you expect us here to in SADC actually, or maybe here in Zimbabwe, to get the ear of the OAU. SADC itself, okay, fair and fine, they've condemned, but I mean, they've done a peer-to-peer review mechanism or taken any punitive measures or actions against their own brother. No, with some, it's business as usual. So it's no longer a thing of the organizations. It's high time the people in the oppositions came together, be it in Tanzania, in Zimbabwe, with Mozambicans, with Angolans, with whatever, and make a bold stand against these liberation parties. They're not liberation parties. They're just extensions of global neocons. Because the same laws that came from the colonial era are the same laws that are actually being implemented. So we just change the skin color from a white oppressor to a black oppressor. So we need to be cognizant of those things. And this time, this is the time to be vigilant. And when you see things like this happening, it means sungai majombo enyu, musunge matrausi enyu, nguva yakuda kuzosvika. Because they are stepping up the tempo, the children tortured. Job, this side, whoever, when you see them happening like this and running like panicked chickens, and when you see them trying to address things that you've been crying about, jobs and this, it's a headless chicken that is now confused. This is the stage where we are, trying to patch here, to patch there, so that it can be liked by people. Yes, but people are people. When the reality starts coming to them, they will see that they wasted their monies, all these tagwires and stuff like that, because the time for God is coming and we'll take back our country. Thank you very much.